Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome back to the desert. Today, I'm going to be talking about a ton of different topics. We're literally just going to riff off a bunch of different things. Like I mentioned in the title, I will be talking about reptilians. I'll be talking about forced vaccines. I'll be talking about relationships, twin flames. What else will I be talking about? Smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, destiny versus free will. You name it, we're getting into it today. Just a little reminder that this video is for members only. So luckily, you guys are here right now watching it live, and you get to take in the content even if you're not a member. So welcome. But all of the questions that I have today are from my members, and of course for everyone. So thank you for all of my members. If you want to ask me questions and you've got a good one and you think that it hasn't been asked yet, feel free to sign up, be a member, and ask away. I hope all of you are doing well. Also, only members are able to comment as well, just in the live chat. But I hope all of you are doing well. Right now, my beautiful wife is going through an ego death. And, luckily for her, it's been kind of slow, right? Just like one little mini ego death at a time. But I'll just kind of give you some of her symptoms so that you know that an ego death can literally be so many things. It can come through as so many things. So it kind of got started with her getting heat stroke in the desert about a week ago, and I had to go rescue her, and it was a huge past life thing that we needed to go through. And then all week she's been having, kind of like mini meltdowns, lots of emotions. This loan that she requested didn't go through, and that was a little, meltdown, and a lot of feelings of lack of self-worth and those kind of things coming up. And then last night she slept wrong and she totally kinked her neck and woke up, and, she's kind of been like this all day. So this is an ego death, right? She's like, oh, I'm just having a shitty day. And I'm like, no, you're collapsing aspects of yourself, right? These attachments. And so just be aware. Just be aware that most of you should be having mini ego deaths in the past at least 3 months. If not, you will be having mini ego deaths moving forward. The reason why is because you can't hold and take on any of your baggage into the new vibrational frequency, okay? So I just want to warn all of you about that. And also, most of your loved ones, your family members, your partners are going to be experiencing this too. The only ones who will not be experiencing an ego death are the ones who have already experienced many, many ego deaths, okay? I mean, I'm still experiencing ego deaths, but just be open, just be open. But if you've been through the trenches, then most likely you've cleared most of your shit. All right, let's just dive into it. Okay, cool. Sylvia, question here. Okay, we're just gonna get right heavy right away. What do you think is gonna be the result of people who take forced vaccinations? What is the outcome on our consciousness, and will it get this far? That's a great question. Now, based on what the Galactic Federation said, and, once again, they are a separate entity than me as a human being. And as a human being, I have a lot of knowledge and wisdom because I've done a lot of remote viewing and channeling and past life regression work. But I definitely don't know everything. So the Galactic Federation said that the countries out there in the world will try and force vaccines, but they won't get away with it. That's what the GFL said. Everything can and does change, so who knows? Personally, it definitely could potentially get this far. Even the other day, I had this kind of flash, and once again, it wasn't very solidified, but it was just kind of a feeling that, let's just say, okay, they may just put restrictions on us, And maybe not for vaccines, but maybe for testing. Like, oh, if you haven't been tested for COVID, then you won't be able to get a job. If you haven't been vaccinated, then you won't be able to put your kids in school. And unfortunately, there are countries out there, like someone told me just the other day that Australia is doing this about vaccinations, right? You won't be able to get, support from the government if you don't get your kids vaccinated. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. We'll see. Ultimately, I need to let people know, if it comes down to forced vaccines, and to be honest, if enough of us are awakened and enough of us say no, they're going to lose half the population that's going to be able to do anything, right? We have the numbers. We need to be aware that we have the numbers to stand up and say no. Our power is obviously within our consciousness and our hybrid DNA, but our power is also within our voice. Our power is within the numbers. We can stand up against the 1%. That's our power, and we need to realize that. We've been sheep up until this point, being herded, when there's actually no fence at all, right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen that picture, but I keep getting that image in my mind recently, right? So yeah, okay, so first of all, say no. You use your right, okay? Listen to yourself. Make sure that feels right. But also I want to tell you that if it comes down to, vaccine or die or something really crazy, which I don't think it will, then we are strong enough to overcome any toxicity, any heavy metals, any radiation in the air. We're strong enough to do that. The more that you are in fear, the more you lower your vibration, and you don't allow yourself to be strong enough to override the external influences in our life. I tell parents this all the time who are worried and come to me and asking about their kids getting vaccines. Ultimately, I got all the vaccines as a kid, and I was still super psychic. I was still able to override that. I was still able to purge the toxicity from my body, okay? And I mean, who am I, right? But ultimately, it's okay. We're strong enough to override this, okay? So ultimately, use your voice and say no, but at the same time, you're strong enough, and don't fear it, because that's just worse. Okay, cool. We've got a good question here from Paris. Do Draco reptilians come from the dragons? Were they a fallen race from the dragons, and how did they fall? What happened to cause them to separate from source? Okay, so that's really awesome. I don't know enough about the Dracos and the reptilians out there in the universe and their story out there in the universe. It makes a lot of sense that they would fall from dragons. I know their history. I know the reptilian history on this planet. I know where they came from. I know how they got here in this position of control and manipulation. And I saw them as the dominant species all the way back in dinosaur times, dinosaur era, right? I am putting out a live video tomorrow all about the reptilians. And I'll tell you that back in 2016, so 3 or 4 years ago, I put out a video on who are the reptilians, and I ended up taking it down. And the reason why is because I was scared. I was fearful that, I don't know, I was scared. I took it down because I was scared. I'm not scared anymore. They're being taken down, and I'm very excited to relay all the information that I know about reptilians, and that's happening tomorrow at 5:55, okay? If you're interested about really like what's going on and what I've channeled and what I've seen and what the Galactic Federation has told me, boom, we're gonna deep dive into everything tomorrow. And I feel like you guys need to know all about the reptilians in order to override your own reptilian brain, because that's what we have. We all have reptilian DNA. That reptilian DNA is anchoring us. It's concreting us to the 3rd dimension density. And we deserve to rise above that. And I'm going to teach you all how to do that tomorrow. Okay, cool. All right, good question here from Jay. Years ago, when I used to smoke weed, I always had my friends' cats and dogs gravitate towards me. Out of everyone smoking, they always chose me to cuddle with. Happens every time. Why is that? Very cool. So yeah, so I haven't really ever told people my perception on weed or my kind of understanding on marijuana. I seriously do believe it's a gift to the planet, okay? I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, man, not only is marijuana a gift to the planet and to the citizens of this planet, but I believe hemp is also a huge gift to this planet and really allows us to really overcome a lot of things like the logging industry. Hemp is good for so many things like skincare and paper and like clothing, like literally everything. Like hemp can solve so many problems. And also marijuana, right? Like think about it. Releasing the cannabinoids that are in our body is actually fine-tuned to receive weed, to receive marijuana. So whether it be in CBD or it be in smoking it or it be in, creaming yourself with it or what have you, yeah, it's there for a reason. And if you're sitting at home bored AF and you're like, I don't know what to do with myself, maybe it's time to start picking up a new habit, and maybe that new habit is weed. Because you know what marijuana allows you to do? It allows you to break down the fundamental attachment that you have to your current perception of reality. And I'm going to repeat that because it's important. Weed allows you to break down the fundamental attachment that you have to the perception of your reality. It changes your perception. And it's not as crazy as ayahuasca, and it's not as crazy as, psilocybin and magic mushrooms. It's very graceful, okay? So I just want to say, yeah, maybe this is a good time to explore, right? But obviously feel it out. If your body is just not into it, that's cool too. But yeah, I think it's really important for people to experience altered states of being in this reality. You're really not living if you're not experiencing this, okay? Also, it's natural, guys. If you're taking any pharmaceuticals right now, whether it be birth control or, on the other end of things like estrogen for menopause or, antidepressant or anxiety or cholesterol or heart things or whatever it is, maybe you should check out weed. I had a friend years ago in university and he got into a crazy skiing accident and he was on like 28 different pharmaceuticals, 28. He started smoking weed and taking CBD capsules. He got off of all of them. All of them. I'm just saying, just put it out there. Okay, cool. Okay, so another question here from Jay. When it comes to relationships, are our feelings already predestined? So basically, do our predestined contracts have external influences during our lifetime? 100%. If your predestined contracts are to get into a car accident in order to experience an addiction to prescription medication, you're going to have to go through that. You're going to have to go through that one way or another. Maybe it's a car accident that gets you addicted to prescriptions. Maybe it's I don't know, going through surgery. Maybe it's falling into a cactus. Maybe it's whatever. But you're going to have to go through. If the contract is addiction, you're going to have to go through that, right? What we are able to override is our perception and our emotions around the physical experiences that we have in our life. Okay, so like you mentioned, when it comes to relationships, are our feelings already predestined? The relationship is already predestined. The feelings are all you. They're all you. The number one thing that we have control over in every single freaking moment is how you perceive the situation. It's how you perceive the experience. And on top of that, after you're done perceiving the situation and the experience, you then have the choice, the free will, to perpetuate the perception of the memory after the experience happens itself. I'm going to give you a really good example of this. Say, for example, you eat, and I know you're all in quarantine, so this is pretty real. This is pretty real shit right here. You eat an entire bag of chips, like in a period of like 2 hours, right? You're like, damn, What did I just do? Right? So the experience itself of eating the bag of chips needed to happen. The perception of it is all you. It's all you. You can either hate yourself for doing it, and because you hate yourself for doing it, you lower your vibration to a point that 3 days later you do it again. Because you're proving to yourself that you're not good enough to receive. You're proving to yourself that you're not good enough to say no. So you continue the self-sabotaging habits. Instead, if you eat the entire bag of chips, because once again, that is your contract. You're gonna have to have that contract with the bag of chips. But instead you're like, wow, Elizabeth, why did you just eat that whole bag of chips? Are you okay? Is something going on? Do you need help? Do you need a hug? What do you need? Right? Why are you doing this to yourself? If you question yourself and you love yourself for making a choice that you know isn't aligned to your highest good, then you can transmute the vibration of the experience itself through having a perception of love. Right? So if you choose not to go to the gym, and obviously none of you can go to the gym, but if you choose not to go to the gym and then you hate yourself for it, it's perpetuating a low vibrational frequency. Make a choice to eat the bag of chips, fucking love yourself for making that choice to eat the whole bag of chips, and move on with your day. And most likely, the more and more you give love to yourself in experiences that are low vibrational, the less and less you're gonna have experiences that are low vibrational. That is just how it works. You can't say to yourself, through conditions, I'm gonna love myself only when I choose not to eat the bag of chips. You're putting so much expectation, so much pressure on yourself. Like, I'm only gonna love myself and believe that I have full control when I say no to that next cigarette, when I say no to that next glass of wine. No, it doesn't work like that. Love yourself now, and then you don't have to prove anything to yourself. Just like saying, I'm gonna love myself once I lose that 10 pounds. You're never gonna lose it. It doesn't work like that. Love yourself now, and then the 10 pounds will drop off. Okay? That's how it works. That's how the universal energies work. Okay, question here from Christine O'Sullivan. Has Mother Gaia already transitioned to 5D? Great question. And I was kind of tuning into this question before this video, and I want to say that right now, no. And the reason why is because if Mother Gaia transitions fully to 5D before human beings do, we're going to get a mass amount of purging on the planet and a lot of death on the planet. Thank you, Peter, for that super chat, and everyone else who's super chatted. Super appreciated. Okay. Think about it this way. And I know that right now we already have a mass purging, right? No matter if the numbers are right or wrong, doesn't matter, does not matter. There are people who are dying right now. And that is equivalent to the vibration no longer being in harmony with planet Earth. Some of the people who are passing away, as I've said before, are so high vibrational that they are needed elsewhere in the universe. The other people who are passing away are so low vibrational that they can no longer be here to hold the frequency of the new Earth. And when I say like high vibrational, I'm talking like next level, like this person started a charity at the age of 12, like next level high vibration. And when I talk about low vibration, I'm talking about this person has been stubborn and, controlling and narcissistic for years, right? It's a very extreme polarity shift. If you think about your body, just do a little thought experiment with me. So think about your body and think about, say, a bacteria or a virus, eye roll, entering your body, okay? And then all of a sudden that bacteria or that virus is not harmonized. It's not aligned to your body. Your body's going to purge it out. When we get sick with a common cold, that's why we cough. That's why we sneeze. That's why we have bathroom issues. It's because we're purging out the bacteria or the virus that is not serving us. What would happen on this planet if Mother Gaia all of a sudden overnight ascended to 5D? Immediately everyone on the planet would be purged out. Everyone who, isn't aligned to 5D would be purged out. And it's not as graceful as what we're going to be experiencing. And it's funny because a lot of you are probably going to be like, Elizabeth, you really think what's happening right now is graceful? And I'm saying 100%, guys. It could have been way worse. It could have been a lot worse. This is a beautiful transition that we're in the middle of right now. Okay, good. Okay, so a question here from Natalie S. Dear Elizabeth, my foot's going numb. Okay. Dear Elizabeth, for those of us who have given DNA samples for things like Ancestry.com, are we in any way more susceptible to trickery and psychic attacks considering the companies who own those research platforms have ties to companies like Google and YouTube and those kind of things? Yes. Okay, cool. Good question. Yeah. I honestly want to say that you're not more susceptible to psychic attacks. Okay, but I do want to say that my own conspiracy, all right, and thank you, Jasmine, for that super chat. I'm just going to tell you my own conspiracy behind this, and you can take it or leave it, but I have to put the disclaimer that this has not been validated by channeling or interdimensional beings. Okay, this is just a fun thing that I like to play around with. My conspiracy behind Ancestry.com and all of the DNA, find your lineage, I believe that they are actually taking DNA from human beings and they are testing for more than just your lineage on this planet. And I believe that they are actually testing for your interdimensional DNA. And I believe that maybe potentially they're tracking the people who have high amounts of Palladian DNA or a high amounts of angelic DNA. Now, it would be a huge, crazy operation to do so. But say, for example, the Palladian DNA wouldn't be called Palladian DNA. It would be called, R1N1523. DNA, and the laboratory would be like, oh, cool, that doesn't mean anything to them, but it means something to the higher ups, right? Anyway, they are definitely going to sell your DNA at some point, which is really messed up. I truly believe in cloning. I don't believe in it, but I believe it's happening, okay? And honestly, it's been a while. It's been years since I've deep dove into cloning and the Illuminati and the shadow government and what they're really doing. But yeah, I believe cloning is possible. I believe potentially the DNA could be, for cloning purposes. Who knows? Who knows? Just all speculation, guys. Please do not freak out. But you're fine. Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, you're going to be totally fine if you've given your DNA away. I don't see any sort of immediate threat. I just feel like there's definitely some nefarious things going on. I'm going to leave it at that. And thank you, Chalice, for that beautiful super chat. Okay, let's move on. Let's go over to Liz. Great name. Okay, so my question to you is, do you feel there is going to be a catalyst coming up in the foreseeable future that is more subtle in triggering awakenings in the masses that will be undeniable, irrefutable, other than the event happening right now? I'm concerned about my husband not waking up. And we have 2 small kids. Okay. 100%, the people who are not waking up are going to be woken up, or they're going to be off this planet. For 100%, I know this for sure, that in the next 4 years at least, And it could be longer than that, but I'm thinking it's, especially within the next 4 years with the collapse of the government structures, the world government structures, the vibration on the planet is raising. And there's only one of two options that can take place in everyone's life. As the vibration collectively and on the planet is raising, you either raise with it or you get off. I mean, shit or get off the pot, really, truly. Thank you, Paris, for that super chat. There's only one of two options. Your husband is going to have to awaken. And that means that he's going to have to fall. And he's going to fall pretty freaking hard. And that's okay. That's okay if he falls, and you're going to be right there to pick him up, because that's what a beautiful and good marriage is all about, right? I do believe, this is really important, guys. I do believe that what's happening right now, hello, Dana, thank you for that super chat. I believe that what's happening right now is only the beginning of what's going to take place in the next 4 years. And that's a huge statement. That's a huge statement. It doesn't mean that what's going to happen moving forward is going to be worse, but there are going to be more events. So when people are like, oh, that's cool, like, this is the worst it's going to get, then I'm going to be fine. I still think that right now is the time to stock up. Have a 3-month food supply for your family. Have a 3-month water supply for your family. Have seeds stored away. Have the ability to have a greenhouse or fresh food or what have you. I think 3 months is a little overkill, but I also think it's better to be prepared than not. And the next foreseeable event that I want to say is going to be coming is going to be a solar flare. And the Galactic Federation still validated that this 3 days and 3 nights of darkness, that's still supposed to happen. And back in 2012, they told me about this huge electromagnetic frequency that's going to hit the planet, and that's going to basically ascend us all during that period of darkness into the light. It's going to ascend us into the light. I know it sounds super biblical, and I totally did not believe it at first. I'm like, this is crazy. There's no way. But now seeing the events that are unfolding, I'm kind of at a place, and I hope all of you are kind of at a place too, where you're like, damn, anything could happen. Anything could happen. Okay, so it's not a time to like kind of relax and say, oh, well, we're going to be all back to work soon. And that's fine. And you can be. But it is a time. Please get prepared. I've been saying this for years, but now I'm saying it even more. Get prepared, not just for what's happening right now, but get prepared for what could happen in the future. And that's not a fear tactic, because I'm not profiting off of that. I'm just trying to prepare the people who are awakened. And that's you guys. Okay. What else did I want to mention? There was something else. Oh, what was it? It was just at the tip of my tongue. Oh, it'll come back. Yeah. Just get prepared. That's all. That's all I want to say. Okay. There's something else, but it'll come back to me. All right. So moving on. Okay, Clara, you were talking about some sort of cloak of invisibility. Can you please explain what this is and how we can use it? Awesome, yes. So years ago, I started to not resonate with the idea of protection energetically. I do believe that it's really important to have discernment when we start to awaken and open up and astral travel. If you don't have discernment and you're wanting to channel and you're wanting to connect with your Galactic Federation or family, and I don't blame you for wanting to connect, but if you try and connect without having the ability to understand what is light and what is dark inside your soul, because darkness can indeed present itself as light, okay? So you need to work on your ability to discern, which basically just means to understand the difference between light and dark before you start to raise your vibration and astral travel, okay? So if you walk around with protection all the time, you're basically inviting in a dynamic within your reality where you need to be protected. You create your own reality. If you walk around saying, I can't afford anything because I only have $1 in my wallet, you are perpetuating the reality of lack. That's just how it works. Okay? So if you're walking around saying, I need to be protected from dark entities in every moment, what are you going to do? You're going to be attracting dark entities. Okay? So it's really this fine line. It's a fine line between understanding that protection is important, but understanding that you don't have to walk around with it all the time. What I do instead of protection, and every once in a while when energetically I feel threatened, and in that way, I mean, threatened probably isn't the right word, but energetically when I feel attacked or when I feel drained or when I feel like a portal has been opened up somewhere, I will, obviously tune into the frequencies. I'll do a little bubble of protection around my property or my house or whatever. Ultimately, what I do that is far better than protection. Like I said, protection is okay. It's just not okay all the time for the fearful reasons. So what I do instead is I actually put myself into an invisibility cloak. When I astral travel, I put myself into an invisibility bubble. Hi, Jonathan. Thanks for being a new member. An invisibility bubble. And then I also put an invisibility cloak around my cord that connects me back to my body. I don't want to freak you out, but I want to make you very aware that when you start to get out of your body, it's very possible for dark energies in the universe to spot you traveling around in your astral body and to actually follow your grounding cord, the cord that connects your astral body to your physical body, to follow the grounding cord back into your body. Okay? It's possible. And if you're just like, wow, this is so amazing. I'm so new to this. You're going to be a target. Okay? And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. When you're raising your vibration and you're moving from 3rd dimension density into 5th dimension density, you have to move through the 4th dimension density. There's a lot of creepy crawlies going on in the 4th dimension. That's where the reptilians hang out, all right? That's their jam. That's their place. If you're not strong enough to move through the 4D and hop into 5D, you may get stuck there for a little bit, not permanently, but you have to work on that discernment, okay? So I use invisibility cloaks when I feel targeted or whatever. Every once in a while, I'll play with the quantum field, and this is really fun. Like a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I was very heavily attacked by reptilians. And man, everything. They would come through my computer. They would attack me at night. Like it was just a full-on onslaught. And this was like right around when I started putting my stuff out there, like online, right? And I think I was just kind of open and maybe a little bit vulnerable at that time. And so what I used to do, this is so cool, I would layer my reality, right? So when you really want to play with the quantum reality, you can do this. So imagine your living room right now, or your bedroom, or wherever you are in the house. And I just want to take you through this experience. This is really great. Imagine where you're sitting right now. And then in this beautiful quantum astral realm, I want you to imagine a second layer of that reality, of infinite potentials, stacked on top of your current reality. Okay? So right now, if you're sitting down watching this, there's another reality where you're in a different room watching this, or where you just got up to go grab a glass of water, or where you just grabbed your notebook, or whatever it may be. There's an infinite number of potential reality outcomes. So if you stack the infinite number of realities on top of each other. And I typically make an infinity loop or a circle with all the infinite potential realities. When the dark entities or the reptilians try and come into my reality to attack me, there are an infinite number of realities that they're trying to tune into, and they never actually really know who the real me is in this moment. Do you see that? I literally just put them on a wild goose chase of infinite realities and possibilities. And ever since working with the quantum, reality or realm, I really haven't been bothered by them. So hopefully, like for any of you who want to go to the next level with protection and working with those realms, like do it. It's so cool. Like even just sitting down and imagining yourself getting up and doing something else, or getting up and answering emails, or getting up and walking the dog. Technically, you're doing all of those things simultaneously. And I've definitely made it my mission in this lifetime to prove quantum convergence. And that's just what I call it. But yeah, very cool, guys. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. So Natalie, I came out of the spiritual closet today. Good for you. I told my whole network of friends and family about the awakening, about my beliefs, and my authentic self. I expect a few will drop away, but that's okay. I'm finding my people. Thank you, EA, for supporting us all through this. That's awesome. Good for you. I was so nervous. I remember way back, I think it was like 2014 when I had a boyfriend at the time, and I was so nervous to tell him that I could see all of our past lives together. Because up until that point, like I was able to do all those things, but I was kind of like playing it safe. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to be in a relationship, I just need to be normal, right? Anyway, it was fine. He was okay with it. I mean, obviously that relationship didn't last, but good for you. Good for you. A lot of people coming out of the spiritual closet. Okay, Angie Nicole, is it possible to create a vortex? One has showed up in the river that runs along my property, and I'm wondering if it was always there, or if I'm just noticing it, or if I've created it with my river ceremonies. Oh my goodness, probably all of the above. There are natural vortexes and portals that exist all over the place, and really what creates a portal or a vortex is the ley lines, right? The energetic ley lines that crisscross and intersect on this planet create these vortexes, which are really powerful. So most likely you doing river ceremonies has opened up portals. It's crazy, guys. You can literally just think about something or start manifesting something in your future, and you can open up a portal. I will say, though, that, portals can be good or bad. And what a vortex does is it amplifies the vibration that you're putting into it. All a vortex is a mirror reflection and an amplitude of what you are emitting into the vortex. So if you're really negative, man, it's going to be tenfold. If you're really positive, it's going to be tenfold. So be very aware of what you're creating and what you're putting out there from moment to moment, because it's being amplified. Because most likely there's a portal or a vortex around you, or you've created one. The other thing too is just along the lines of like protection and making sure that you're kind of in a good place. You can also say something along the lines of, I choose to shut down all the portals and the vortexes, in my current location, or I choose to level up all the portals and vortexes in my current location to align to my highest good. You can set intentions and affirmations for the vortexes. I have indeed had, let's just call them psychic military officials, and this just happened, this past year, open up a portal in my living room and astral travel through the portal to basically spy on me. And it's so funny because the day that happened, I was feeling watched all day. Like, it was just weird. Like, I was just walking around home and I'm like, I feel super watched. But I was so busy that day that I didn't really tune into what was going on by feeling watched. And then of course my beautiful friend Sharma, who's in the chat right now, texted me, and she works a lot with dark energy removal and clearings and what have you. And she texted me that day. She's like, hey, I just want to let you know that, there was a portal that was open up in your living room, and there's some guy who's astral traveled, through the portal, and now he's creeping on you. I'm like, what? Anyway, so it's really funny. But it was validated, right? It was instantly validated, that feeling that I got. So, I mean, typically that doesn't happen. Like, typically you're not going to get spied on unless you're really making huge waves in society, right? Because they don't want us to speak up. So, but yeah, I thought that was funny, Sharma. Okay, cool. Denise Pace. Okay. For the military and veteran community, what messages would you want them to have at this time? Many of them are having difficulty sleeping. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so it's really important. I honestly think that maybe the military and the veteran community have more traumas than most people. So the number one thing that I would say to that community, and I have never really spoken to the community before, is really it's time to go within. It's time to love yourself. It's time to release all of that trauma. It's time to have gratitude for yourself. And most likely, if you're having trouble sleeping, you're just going through an awakening or a shift. Right? So it's really just, just be aware that a lot of the symptoms that you're feeling are spiritual awakening symptoms. Okay. Okay, great. Natalie, can you please tell us more about light codes and how we can receive them, and if you have any examples of having an activation and how it affects you? For sure. I mean, in every moment. So recently, I've really been setting an intention to encode my videos. This video, maybe not so much because it's just a Q&A, but my Monday videos, especially for the past probably month, I have been encoding light codes into the videos with the intention to activate you during the video. And wow, did that Atlantean Lemurian video ever activate people, right? Hi, Lavender. Thank you for being a new member. And so, yeah, so tomorrow with the reptilian video, and for those of you who don't know, I'm doing deep diving into reptilians tomorrow, live at 5:55 Eastern Standard Time. And my intention for that video is to unlock the suppression that all of you, and the battle within yourself that all of you have been feeling from your reptilian brains, right? That's my intention. So literally activating your light codes, activating your DNA, activating your vibrational frequency can be very subtle. And it could be happening right now as we're speaking without you knowing it, or it can be extremely intense. And I just got really intense tinglies on the top of my head. The most intense version of activating yourself would be psychosis, schizophrenia type of symptoms, even though I don't really believe in that kind of language. And a lot of people have to go through moments of psychosis in order to step into their own awakening, which is I just, have so much respect for those people, because what an extreme way to awaken, right? Luckily for me, I've been psychic my whole life. So my whole life has been a process of awakening, and I haven't really had to go through those extremes. So typically, like, light codes can be activated, and it can feel very different for every single person. The main feeling that I typically see with people is like tinglies, right? If you get like the full body chills, if you have an emotional reaction, some people get pains, like really serious aches and pains in their body during light code activations. And the reason why is because you're holding a lot of old frequency and a lot of old emotions and energies in your body that are not serving you. Therefore, when you raise your frequency, you got to purge out that old vibration, and it's painful. It's actually physically painful to have light code activations sometimes. Okay. Jay, what does it mean when you can't stop thinking of someone? It means that there's still energies there that you need to release. And so maybe a cord cutting letter is in order. Okay. Devanesh Joshi. Namaste, Elizabeth. Some beings have mantras and different ways of controlling their energies. Is there a password to connect with Elizabeth April, aka yourself? If you would be so kind as to share with us if you're willing. Very cool. If you want to connect with me in the astral, and that's possible, and I can teach you because I've taught many in the astral realms, all you have to do is call me in. Just like you would call in Archangel Michael, just like you would call in, your Palladian family. If you really feel like you want to be taught by me, especially about aliens and quantum physics, because a lot of the spiritual stuff that I teach is pretty simple. Like if you really want some teachings, all you have to do is just call me in before bed or even in meditation, and most likely I will show up. So there's no secret password to connect with me. Yeah. So, and I always cut cords with all of you after live videos because I have to. Sometimes after a live video, I'll walk around, like especially walk around the desert, and I'll like catch a full on, and I was just telling my wife this last night, I will catch a full on conversation of people talking like in my mind. Obviously I'm in the middle of the desert, and it's literally just someone who has really connected their cord to me. And maybe they're a very good sender or projector of their thoughts, and I'm picking up on it. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And whoever that is, I just cut the cord. But if I wanted to be a creeper, I could listen to the whole conversation. But I don't like that. I don't like having things, I don't like not being in control of my psychic abilities. So I'm pretty clear about cutting everything off. Because when I want to walk around the desert, I just want to be human. You know what I mean? Okay, cool. Okay, so Cosmic Aquarius. So when talking about telekinesis, manipulating material, and things like a cup or any object, I was connecting with it to see how we create our reality with our thoughts. Aren't we already using our capabilities of manipulating matter, telekinesis, without knowing it? That we're doing it through our energy of thoughts and decisions, and we're just not realizing it. Yeah, so you're basically talking about, manifestation, and you're talking about, isn't this already telekinesis? Like, say, for example, if you're like, I want to, bring in a cup of water or coffee or whatever, you can do that. You could do that. And when you manifest it, that's basically working with the material world, right? So it's possible, yes, but the traditional form of telekinesis is manipulating, bending the physical material world. I think kind of what you're getting at is more of a working with the quantum world in more of a manifestation state. That's a really good question and really good things to think about. Okay, great. So we've got Lori G. Hi, Elizabeth. I'm a therapist and I love my work, but I get super exhausted and drained with helping others. I can disconnect from the matrix a few times a day when working with my clients, but I also need to stay present when connecting with them. I think I need to invest in some crystals for my office and to wear. I bought a few crystals and bracelets and I think that they're helping. Any suggestions? Okay, yeah. For me, I do tend to wear crystals. I think the malas are the best just because they contain way more crystals than the little bracelets. And my favorite company that is just so good, and they're a beautiful couple, married couple who have this company. It's called Lily Rose Jewelry Co. I don't know, Lauren, if you're watching this and you have the quick links, if you can post that in the comments. But anyway, you can find them on Google, and they have beautiful jewelry, beautiful necklaces and bracelets. And personally, I love this one the most. This is from them. It's got rose quartz, labradorite, and amethyst. Super, super powerful. Yeah, and then this one is, what is this called? Fluorite, rainbow fluorite or something like that? Anyway, yeah, so Anyway, yeah, so definitely wear your crystals. Crystals are still very important and they help us ground. The other mala that I love and I'm obsessed with is the onyx, because it really does absorb all of that frequency and energy. But I just love crystals in general. Also, we've got Galactic Federation here with the super chat. Any updates about our twin flame manifestations? Is this happening to amplify the awakening more quickly? I don't speak about twin flames. I don't. And if you know my work, you know that this is the case. The reason why, and literally this was proved to me just yesterday, the reason why is that people use the term, the label, and the attachment of twin flame as a manipulation tactic. It's so not good. Do you realize the type of attachment and the heaviness that is correlated with the label of twin flame? That locks you in. You are basically saying you are the other half of me, right? Do you know how much expectation and pressure and conditions are put onto someone that you think is your twin flame? So just yesterday, right? I have a client and he told me, he's like, oh, my twin flame, my wife, we're having issues. I was going to tell him not to use that term of twin flame, but I didn't. And then yesterday we talked about maybe a week or so ago. And then yesterday he emailed me and he says, now my twin flame is telling me that we're just soulmates and she thought that we were twin flames, but now she doesn't think that we're twin flames. It's like, oh my God, what a roller coaster ride. Right? Exactly, Paris. You're a whole individual. You don't need your twin flame. Stop disempowering yourself. Stop throwing yourself for a loop. Stop projecting this idea of, the fact that you've got half of you out there. If you're truly a divine and ascended soul, you have both of you inside of yourself. And that being said, think about everyone as a soulmate, right? I don't even believe in there's one person for everyone. Right? That dog over there who's passed the fuck out is a soulmate of mine, right? That person I smiled at on the street is a soulmate of mine. My wife is a soulmate. My best friend is a soulmate. Is because we designed our contracts to come into each other's frequency for a reason, for a lesson, for a purpose, for an experience. And if you look at every relationship, if you look at every living thing, coming into your life for a reason, for a lesson, for an experience, you have no attachment to anything or anyone. That you can fully live a sovereign life. Let go of this idea and this new age concept of twin flame and soulmate. Let it go. Let it go. If you really are drawn to someone, experience your life with them. If you're not drawn to them the next week and it goes up in flames, then let that go and learn a lesson from it, right? But you're only going to perpetuate misery in your own mind if you think that you just got divorced from your soulmate or your twin flame. Let it go, okay? Don't get trapped in your own mind of disillusion and labels, right? The same thing of like the whole, and I bring this up just because I'm a part of it, but the whole LGBTQ community, right? It's like we keep putting labels on people who are transgender and sapiosexual or asexual or bisexual or whatever it may be. It doesn't mean, you don't have to pick one state of being, right? I'm gay. It doesn't mean that you have to be gay for the rest of your life, right? I'm exploring, I'm fluid. I believe every human being is fluid. Get away from labels. Get away from them, all of them, okay? Especially the ones that, harness so much heaviness and so much expectation. You're just confining yourself. And with that being said, I love you guys so much. Keep up the good vibes. I don't know if you could hear that, but Abby is just snoring so loud. Anyway, that's the dog. I love you all so much. Thank you to all my members. Thank you to all my new members. Thank you to all the people who are watching this who aren't members. I'm just happy that you're here. I'm just happy that you showed up for yourself because this is the time. We are all here for one purpose. And I just got chills. We're here to watch the planet ascend. We're here to go back into ancient Atlantean times, to bring back the technology, to bring back the harmony, to bring back the utopia. We're here, and it's finally all unfolding, and you chose to be here right now for a reason. It's time to look at yourself in the mirror, thank yourself for going through this experience, and understand that there is no fear because you signed up for this. And with that being said, I'm going to be back tomorrow at 2:55 Pacific Standard Time or 5:55 Eastern Standard Time or whatever in between for a really deep dive into reptilians. Let's dislodge your reptilian fight or flight mechanisms. Let's allow you to step into the light, and let's really let's get this going. All right. Until then, thank you all so much. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday.